So this video is going to be a reminder for all the younger fellas out there. Maybe you're 18, 19, you're just finishing high school. Maybe you're in your early 20s, you know, jumping into university or trade school or whatever you're doing. And you're around that age where you are figuring out that big next step. And you don't have everything figured out, you know, you don't know what you're going to do, you're unsure of certain things. What about the student loans? What about if this doesn't work? What about what I'm passionate about? I don't know what I'm passionate about. You just don't have anything figured out yet. There's so much uncertainty. And this video really is just a reminder of saying that you shouldn't let that overwhelm you. Now, it's easy enough for me to say that you shouldn't let that overwhelm you. It's like, okay, yeah, sure, you can say that, you know, but you don't actually understand what I'm going through. No. I do. I get it. I was also at that age once, and I had Asian parents constantly pressuring me to go to university and get good grades and be a vet or be a doctor or whatever, your stereotypical stuff. And meanwhile, I wanted to do something else. I wanted to be in esports. You know, I wanted to make it as a pro player, etc., etc. So I get it. And it's really amazing at how much time you actually have in those years between 18 and 25 to do and try different things. Now, obviously, you shouldn't treat this as like, oh, you know, I have so much time, I can just do whatever I want and everything would be okay. And I'm not saying it that way. I'm not saying go party and go get drunk and go to foam cannon parties. Like, yeah, you can try it once or twice to see what it's like. And if you're always curious and there's a bit of FOMO, yeah, sure. But what I'm saying is that you actually have time to try a lot of things. When you're 18, when you're 19, 20, 21, you have opportunities to try different things. You don't have to have this pressure on yourself to just say, oh, you know, I need to pick this one thing. This next one thing is going to do is what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life. That's not the case at all. Not when you're that age. This is the age where you are flexible. You probably don't have a house and a mortgage to pay. Some of you might, but you probably don't have kids that you gotta look after or family of your own to tie you down. You have a lot of flexibility. And that you should use that flexibility, take advantage of it to try certain things. And by trying certain things, you learn a lot of life lessons, whether it's lessons in dealing with other people, whether it's lessons in the specific skill and whatever you're doing. You learn a lot of things. And in that age, it's not about locking in the one thing you're doing for the rest of your life. In that age, it's about learning as many things in life as you can. I'll give you an example. So I had no idea what I was going to do in terms of career and work when I was in high school, when I was 18, 19 coming out of high school. The only thing that I cared about at the time was playing League of Legends, right? Playing video games. So it only made sense to me that the only thing I would do is go into esports. So despite what my parents wanted, I defied the traditional Asian parent tradition and decided to go all in esports. And eventually, yes, was that successful? Yes, I made it, blah, 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 but that's beside the point. So in esports, what did I learn? Okay, well, in order to be good, I had to have a team. So I learned how to integrate into a team. I learned how to recruit people. Eventually, I had to own my own team and start my own organization. So I had to figure all that out, how to manage people in the team, how to schedule practices, how to make sure people get in on time, how to get high quality and disciplined players and motivated players on your team instead of just lazy people that just wants to come in and play a game or two. How to not waste time and use time efficiently and effectively. How to network with organizers and other team leaders. You know, I did esports, and esports taught me all those things that very well transition into other aspects of life. It made me, despite how it sounds, the concept of playing video games, it made me into a more mature person, because I learned how to deal with people, how to deal with situations where the team isn't performing well, how to step up and take a leadership role when I'm needed. That's something that's really important to learn early on. I'm not saying you have to learn it through esports, and I'm not saying just drop all your studies and play video games. All I'm saying is that by taking the risk and doing what I wanted to at the time, I didn't know it was going to be successful or not, but I learned important lessons along the way. After esports, after I was a bit burned out, after I retired as a player and started doing coaching part-time, I decided I went into film school and I did film and TV. Why? Because I just always had an interest for kung fu movies. I watched them growing up and I wanted to be some sort of stuntman or someone working on a film set. So I did film school. And you know, in film school, I got more opportunity to practice socializing with people face to face, right? In esports, it was a lot of online socializing, you know, voice chats, typing in Discord chat rooms, blah, blah, blah. But in film school, I had to interact with people face to face, and I got to practice. I got to practice how to work with people in a team face to face, in person, as opposed to just online. And so a lot of what I learned in esports, when I got put into little project groups in my film school, transferred, right? I knew how to delegate tasks, I knew how to step up and be a leader when I'm needed, I knew what to do, I knew how to socialize with people, and I was practicing the in-person and in real life aspect. And of course, you have all the nice little things of learning how to actually use a camera, how to make great short movies, how to frame great photos, etc., etc. And film school has led me to do a lot of amazing little gig jobs. You know, I was from being on the Lord of the Rings TV series to working in rugby games, to working on concerts and being the onstage camera. I had a lot of fun experiences. And film school has taught me a lot in terms of going to those jobs and, you know, being caught up for those jobs. And even though you might be a bit anxious, it's a great opportunity. So you have to say yes, despite the anxiousness, because you have to understand that anxiousness and the anxiousness isn't even a word, the anxiety in whatever you're going to be doing is a sign that you should be doing it. That's what I learned throughout film school and all the jobs that I did afterwards. If you're anxious about it and it gets you a little bit nervous, that's a sign that you should go do it, because you jump over another hurdle, you gain new experiences, you have more stories to tell, and you have more confidence in yourself because you made yourself do something uncomfortable. You made yourself grow. You allowed yourself to progress. That is one important life skill that film school has taught me. And then what? Made myself uncomfortable. Guess what? I joined the military. That's right, I had military experience. You know, it was uncomfortable, I couldn't run at all, and it was something a bit uncertain. I didn't know what the military was gonna be like. Was it gonna be like Full Metal Jacket in the movies? I don't know. Am I gonna get punched in the face by drill sergeants? I don't know. I didn't, spoilers. But at the time, I don't know. And I couldn't run at all, and I had to pass the fitness test, and all the discipline I had from practicing in esports that transferred over, that the maturity of the things that I had, of being comfortable and doing uncomfortable things that I learned from my film school, my film industry experience. All those things helped me to become a bit more mature, and I didn't get into a lot of trouble on military training. You know, I was always the more mature dude. There's a lot of younger, like 17, 18-year-old dudes at the time, and when I joined, I was already in my mid-20s. So as you can see, I've done a lot of things in life, and none of them directly ties into each other. You know, they're not related. Like esports isn't necessarily related into military. Military isn't necessarily related into film school. Film school isn't necessarily related to esports, and it's not necessarily related to cooking, because yes, I did work at a restaurant at some point as well. Like, I've done a lot of things, and I'm not even 30. I'm still in my 20s. And now I'm doing entrepreneur stuff. I'm building online businesses, and I have another friend in Australia that needs me to go over there and help him run his business. Now I'm doing entrepreneurship, and I've done all these things, and I'm not even 30, and none of them in functionality has anything to do with each other, but each one of them has taught me life lessons that I can use to transfer into different skills in life and to help me become more of an adult and more mature as a person. So, did I have this all figured out at 18, 19, 20, 21 when I was at potentially some of your guys' age? No. Hell no. All I cared about that age was League of Legends. I didn't think about going to the military. I didn't think about going to film school. I didn't think about cooking at a restaurant, being a chef. I didn't think about running businesses, whether it's online or in person. None of that. But it all stemmed from one thing, and one thing led to another, and I transferred what I learned from one thing into another thing. So when I say don't get overwhelmed at the beginning, don't think of all these things at once. There's no way I could have thought of all the things that I've mentioned I've done at once when I was coming out of high school or going into university or whatever. Because if I tried doing that, it's just analysis paralysis. I wouldn't have gone anywhere. Don't think of all these things at once. Just think on the next thing. One thing. Because that's just one chapter, one phase in your life. And use whatever you learn from that phase. Learn as much as you can and use it to transfer into the next phase, which you don't have to think about right now because that's 2-3 phases onwards. Just focus on the next phase. What do you want to do in the next few years? What do you want to learn? Focus on learning life lessons. Yes, study is important. Ironic coming from me, but studying is important. But aside from studying, learn life skills. While you're studying, going to university, learn how to build friend groups, learn social skills, how to be confident. Maybe learn fitness on the side, right? Go to the gym, learn how to get fit, learn how to get jacked, learn how diet works, how calories work. Keep learning life skills. Identify the life skills and learn them through whatever endeavor you have next. Don't think about everything at once. Just think about the next one. And I chose something when I was that age that was probably the most unlikely to work, especially in a country like New Zealand. I chose esports. Out of like everything I could have done. Could have done military straight out of school, which I didn't. I could have done trade school. I could have done any degree at a university. I could have worked a part-time job straight away. I didn't do any of that. I just went to esports, which had way less of a chance of working than any of the things I've just mentioned. But I've learned so many important lessons through esports that have helped me become the person I am today and helped me be on this journey to become successful today. So, yes, I'm not saying don't worry at all, but don't overwhelm yourself. Just think of the next thing. Because life has a way of making it that as long as you are diligent and disciplined, you will find a way. So just focus on the next thing. And with that, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.